I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me. Okay. All right. The story I'm going to tell this evening, fairly short one for my stories in general, but it's a very old one. It comes from Ovid's Metamorphoses, if any of you know. That is the old Roman collection of tales. There once lived a man who scorned the gods. Scorned the gods. Erysichthon by name, he was never known to leave a single offering on any of the holy altars. Now, there existed since time immemorial, in the center of the forest, in the center of the world itself, in the very center of life, there existed a gigantic, handsome, solitary, magnificent oak tree at the center of life. And this oak was dedicated to and beloved by the great mother, Demeter, the goddess of abundance. In the old days, the sylvan sprites of the forest would hold hands and circle around this great oak and dance and feel joy. And the universe would seem to be in place and held in joy as long as they danced and honored this great eternal being at the center of the existence. The centaurs of the woods and all creatures did praise and honor to this great being, which had stood, as I say, from time immemorial in the very center of existence. It was dedicated to and beloved by Demeter, the goddess of abundance. But to Erysichthon, the man we're talking about, the man who scorned the gods, to Erysichthon, this magnificent being at the center of existence, represented only his own profit. So much board feet that he could sell and use for his own wants, which always became more and more and more. Now, one day, this Erysichthon, with the axe of his irreverence, the axe of his sacrilegious attitude, the axe of his selfishness, the axe of his me first, the axe of his more, came with a few men to chop down this oak that had stood since time immemorial in the center of existence. And as he approached the tree and held his axe out, it seemed as though the tree trembled. And of the few men he had brought with him, one had enough courage to step forward and say, "My lord Erysichthon, I did not know that this was the tree you meant when you asked us to help you." Erysichthon turned his axe and said, "I didn't ask you to help me. I ordered you to help me. I am Erysichthon. I am the king. And this tree, no matter what you think, shall go down before me. And as for you, with his axe, he lopped off the head of that man. And he turned and said to the others there, anyone else have any questions or objections? And then he started. And at the first swing, as that blade entered the oak, blood streamed from the oak. And there seemed to be a scream from the existence itself. Could not identify any creature that screamed, but the whole atmosphere seemed filled with grief and pain. I don't care if this tree is dedicated to Demeter. If it were Demeter herself, she would fall down before me. I am Erysichthon. I am the king. And what I want, I get. Wham! 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 It's a lot of work, but the tree began to creak. More. Wham! Wham! And the tree went down. Boom! 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 And he had it cut up and carted off and sold in the town. I am Erysichthon, and what I get, I want. Now the sylvan creatures of the woods came out, saw that the tree was gone, and they wept. They cried piteously, and their tears and their sobs and their sorrows joined. And so strong was this universal mourning that it went up higher realms, higher realms, higher realms, and penetrated the sphere of the great goddess Demeter, the mother of abundance. The mother heard her children crying, and like all mothers, she paid attention to those tears. She knew what she had to do. She would summon her sister. Now, far off in the Scythian waste, in the lands that are mostly rocks and harshness and sorrow, where pain lives and weeping, there lives hunger herself. She is a creature of total want. She has nothing, and she is constantly in want. Hunger, hunger, hunger. Her lips are contorted. Her face is the color of dead moonlight. Her breasts are shapeless and saggy. Her knees scrape the ground. And where her belly should be, there is nothing. Now, it is not possible for the goddess Demeter, the goddess of abundance, to meet face to face with her sister, this creature of want, hunger. They cannot meet face to face. They cannot be in the same place at the same time. So Demeter sent a messenger to want and hunger and told him what had happened. And the messenger told hunger, you will come tonight, and when Erysichthon, this petty king, sleeps, you will insinuate yourself into his being, and you will take over this petty king's being, his consciousness, his misery. And so, Erysichthon did sleep. Oh, he was tired. He had had a full day. He had cut down a tree that had been there since time immemorial. He had cut it up into pieces. He had hauled those off and sold them. He had a big day, and he earned a good sleep. And as he slept, Hunger herself came into his chamber, and she insinuated herself into him and into his dreams. And he was filled with a wanting. He dreamt of tables of food, capon and poultry, and ribs of beef with drooling juices glistening. Oh, there was so much in his dreams that when he woke up, he was famished. He was filled with hunger. So he went around his palace and he ate everything, every bit of food that was there. But it left him wanting more. I am Erysichthon, I am king here, and I want more. So he went around the entire city around the palace and ate and ate and ate. And the more he ate, the more he wanted. For that is the nature of hunger. The more you feed it, the more it demands. I want more, he said. More. Now, this desire that consumed him moved to other places besides his stomach. It moved into his loins. And he had every woman in the kingdom brought to him, whether she was a virgin or a crone, whether she was a wife or a daughter. He had everyone brought to him, and he fucked them all. And when he had fucked them all, he cried for more, more. And then his hunger went into that most disastrous place, that place of most wanting, the power to dominate over others. So he went from out of his kingdom to kingdom, and he overtook them, always bringing a larger army. He overtook kingdom after kingdom after kingdom, and the more he conquered, the more he cried, more, more. I am Erysichthon, and I want more. More to eat, more to fuck, more to conquer, more to devour, more to destroy, more, more, more. Calling always more, more, more. Now, Erysichthon had children, and he sold his children to neighboring kingdoms to become slaves. And with the money he got from that, he cried for more, more, more. Now, when his children came back to him, after they had been used up, they came back broken and tattered and torn and miserable, crying for more. He ate his own children. He gobbled them up, bone by bone. He devoured his own children. And as he picked the remnants, the bloody remnants of his children from his teeth, he looked around and said, more, more, more. I am Erysichthon, and I want more. Well, in the end, you all know the end. We all know the end. In the end, he devoured himself, bone by bone, knuckle, digit, internal organs, bit by bit, liver, pancreas, anus, didn't mean anything. He devoured himself. And if he had a mouth left to speak with, or any portion of his stomach yet left to be fed, if he had anything in his brain left to think with, he would have cried for more, more, more. And what I want to know from you, my friends, what I want to know is what is eating you?